All right, good day and welcome to today's edition of the show. I hope that certainly the day has started well for you. This one promises to be yet another exciting and engaging episode of Political Spectrum, coming to you live from Uyo, the state's capital. I am your host, Onumese Ehinoma Olusegun, and as usual, we will be focusing on the sequel to the recent developments facing our nation's economy and after reactions following the increase in the price of petrol. But before then, we just received some breaking news reports, which has just reached us, but still under process of official confirmation. The news is that Justice Ugo of Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has just resigned, citing demands to kneecap democracy. Says siding with Tinubu would mean the death of Nigeria's democracy. In what seems to be a shocking and unprecedented move, Nigerian Justice Bolokurumo M. Ugo has resigned from the bench, citing demands and pressure from the executive branch that he believes would destroy the country's democracy. Now, the report stated that Justice Ugo said this siding with the government on this matter would be death of Nigeria's democracy and that he could not in good conscience remain silent. His resignation has sent shockwaves through the country and raised serious questions about the state of Nigeria's democracy. According to Justice Ugo's statement, he was asked to cripple the independence of the judiciary by ruling in favor of a certain political candidate whom he did not name but is widely believed to be Bola Tinubu. In addition to this, he was asked to suppress evidence and dismiss cases that could have an impact on the election. Now, Justice Ugo's resignation has caused a serious uproar and a setback to the activities of the Presidential Election Petition Court. Now, once we have more on this development, we are sure we'll keep you updated. All right, we'll go on a short break. Thereafter, we'll be right back. Please don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back and many thanks for staying tuned. Now to the main issues we've been monitoring as new developments appear. Quite a lot has happened in very few days, triggering more and more chains of negativity events as a result of the increase in the pump price of petrol. Now, moving real quick now, petrol already selling for 700 naira in the east and other major cities. Reports claim that there was massive anger in Anambra State as commuters and motorists were hit by the sudden hike in the pump price of petrol from 530 naira to 700 naira plus. This is just as motorists and other users of the product besieged various petrol stations and were panic buying the product in larger quantities in anticipation that the price may shoot up to as high as 800 naira from Wednesday. Now, our correspondents gathered that the petrol station in major cities of Onitsha, Nnewi, and Awka had sold the product at 530 per litre as at Tuesday morning, before the news of the current increase in pump price filtered into town. It was also observed that apart from outlets of NNPCL and other major marketers that sold fuel at between 620 and 630 litre across the metropolis of Sokoto, other independent marketers sold it at 670 naira per litre. Now, still following up on the chain of events, we move to the House of Reps. House of Reps reaction after the NNPCL decision to increase pump price. Now, increase in fuel price. Reactions continue to trail reactions. The House of Reps on Wednesday rejected a motion to stop the increase in the price of premium motor spirit, PMS, and revert to the old price of 537 naira per litre. Rather, the House resolved to investigate the sudden increase in the price of premium motor spirit and the resultant increase in transport fares across the country. The House said since it has already resolved to investigate the increase, it will amount to preempting the work of the investigative committee by ordering the suspension of the price increase. Now, in a motion of urgent public importance, Honorable Ikenga Ugochinyere, the House, asked the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mr. Mele Kyari, and oil marketers to appear before an ad hoc committee to explain the increase. The ad hoc committee was also working on finding ways in ensuring effective distribution of palliatives to Nigerians to cushion the effect of subsidy removal. Now, Ugochinyere said in Section 88(1) and Section 88(2) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999, as amended, empowers the National Assembly to conduct investigations into the activities of any authority executing or administering laws made by the National Assembly. Now, he also said that Section 32 of the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021 saddles the petroleum mainstream and downstream regulatory authorities with the task of regulating and monitoring technical and commercial midstream and downstream petroleum operations in Nigeria. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has increased the current, they have described the current 617 naira per litre pump price for petrol as not only extortionist, but an act of provocation by the All Progressives Congress against the Nigerian people. National Publicity Secretary of the PDP, Honorable Debo Ologunagba, in a statement in Abuja on Wednesday, accused the ruling APC of extreme insensitivity and callousness towards Nigerians. Now, he explained that the new subsidy regime, which obviously enjoys the endorsement of the APC-led administration, was worsening an already dire economic situation. Ologunagba said the party cautions that the increase in worsening the already bad and suffocating economic situation under the APC and has the capability of triggering a very serious crisis in the country if not abated. It is appalling that instead of seeking ways to stabilize and grow the economy, the APC administration has abandoned the welfare of Nigerians, which is the primary purpose of government under Section 14(2)(b) of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and left the citizens of the vagaries of the market forces and exploitative cabal, a disposition that is characterized of a government that is not accountable to the people. Now, the PDP is alarmed that its ill-thought-out, badly planned and hurriedly executed policies, the APC is running Nigeria's economy aground with the value of Naira rapidly plummeting, businesses and production shutting down, citizens losing their means of livelihood, commercial and social activities crippled, with millions of families no longer able to afford their daily needs as the cost of food, medication, and other essential goods and services continue to skyrocket. Cluelessness and lack of capacity to effectively steady and manage the nation's economy. Indeed, this is not the nation that Nigeria yearned for after the abysmal, harrowing, and inhuman 8 years of the Buhari-led APC administration, as the situation has currently gone from a frightening bad to a terrifying worse with no hope in sight. The PDP dismisses APC's insensitive and lame argument of market forces and comparison of the price of fuel in Nigeria with those of other countries which have functional infrastructure, variety of affordable alternative transportation system, and sources of energy, strong currencies, and where citizens earn far higher than what obtains in Nigeria. Are under any guise. This is especially given the economic potentials and prospects within our country. Even with the removal of the subsidy on petroleum products, the PDP maintains that the depth, transparent, and innovative management of resources, economic potentials, national comparative advantage, and expanded value chain in refining capacity, fuel should not sell for more than 150 naira per litre in Nigeria. Now, more reactions after reactions trail the increase in fuel price, like some sort of chain of events have been set in motion. Fuel price hike, business operators panic, fear shutdown, job losses. Members of the organized private sector on Wednesday expressed fear over the possible shutdown of business and job losses following a hike in the pump price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited and fuel marketers. Let us recall that on Tuesday, the NNPCL and other oil marketers raised the price of petrol from about 537 naira per litre to between 617 naira and 630 naira per litre, a development that triggered widespread anger across the country. Now, commenting on the matter, the president of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Francis Meshoye, said the unpredictability of fuel price hikes will take a serious toll on manufacturers who already had to readjust budgets to factor in the added cost caused by the removal of fuel subsidy. He said the increase in fuel price has already raised the cost of logistics, which will be compounded by the latest hike. He stated that given the trend, there were fears among manufacturers that this might not be the final increase, and urged the government to develop a culture of engaging key stakeholders before decisions with far-reaching consequences such as these were taken. This signal this gives to the business community is that, are we even sure that this is the final increase? Some of our members have tried to make some adjustments. If you are unable to come to work and you have to increase prices for consumers, what will happen? And where is the purchasing capability for the consumer to really purchase these goods? Meshoye asked. Also speaking, the deputy has said in the near term, there will be a lot of hardship. A lot of small businesses will crumble completely. There will be a drop in production capacity. How fast can we get out of this if what the conversation is all about? On his part, the President, Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, Femi Egbeshola, expressed worry that more businesses will collapse due to the increased hardship that will characterize the operating environment. Increasing the pump price of petrol at the time small businesses were fighting for their lives as a result of the recent removal of fuel subsidy was a sledgehammer that would annihilate many SMEs, Egbeshola said. It is a sledgehammer on micro and small businesses. I just wonder how he will survive. I must tell you, I am confused, says Egbeshola. Now, the economy has been in a basket, but this is suicidal, he still complained. I foresee quite a lot of business going under. I don't see how micro and small businesses can survive this. Many will go down. Now, in the same vein, the National Vice Chairman, Nigerian Association of Small and Medium Enterprises, Solomon Aderoju, said more business in fuel price. Aderoju is saying it will increase the cost of operations. Many SMEs are packing up already. MPR is 18.5. The rate of inflation is 22.79%. So no SME can thrive under the environment with these kinds of government policies. More are still going to close down. Egbeshola says, I bought fuel at 14,000 naira today. I cannot last more than a day or two. It will affect tremendously. It is quite unfortunate. Fuel increase. Nigerian Colleges of Education Lecturers Union convenes a very critical meeting. Now, the Nigerian College of Education Lecturers Union said it will summon a National Executive Council meeting following the hike in fuel price. The union, in a statement issued by its national president, Dr. Sam Olugbeko, stated that its members could no longer survive on the current minimum wage. Hence, it had directed its members to only go to work twice weekly. He said the national leadership of our great union is in its extraordinary meeting held on Tuesday, July 18, 2023, agreed to direct its members to go to work 2 days weekly until federal government yields to its demand of 200% increase in salary amidst the difficulty of members to get to work as a result of hike in price of petrol. The implementation of removal of fuel subsidy by the federal government 2 months ago raised the price of a liter of petrol by 250%, if not more. This worsened the inflationary rate on the cost of transportation, food, and other essential commodities and impoverished the Nigerian people. Now, workers, including staff of colleges of education, kept faith with the government and chose to endure the untold hardship, thinking it would be only for a while, as the government promised to roll out palliative measures, including significant increase in salaries. 150 naira per liter. Now, the leadership of the union has been inundated by the members' complaints that they would no longer go to work as a result of hike in the price of petrol, and also the resultant high cost of transportation. The union stated that against this backdrop, it has become inevitable for the union to direct members to go to work only 2 days weekly. While an emergency NEC meeting shall be convened to ratify this decision and decide on the specific days of the week members are to go to work. Now, speaking on the way forward, the union called on the government to immediately seek a lasting solution to prevent a crisis in colleges of education. Now, Naira devaluation, cost of fuel increase, and that statement is credited to the oil marketers. And they say the crash of the Naira against the United States dollar contributed significantly also to the Tuesday's hike in the pump price of petrol. The Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN, they stated that on Wednesday. Now, MOMAN specifically stated that the devaluation of the local currency led to an increase in the price of petrol by 100 naira per liter, as it stressed that the cost of crude oil and the exchange rate accounted for over 80% of the cost of PMS. Speaking at a virtual conference on Wednesday, organized by the association to explain the sharp rise in the cost of petrol from about 537 naira per liter to 630 naira per liter, depending on area of portal, on May 20, 2023, Platts reported a price of $827 per metric ton, and on July 14, 2023, it was 859.25% per metric ton. However, there has been a significant increase in the foreign exchange rate. We can infer pricing using an exchange rate of about 630 to the dollar, while banks reported an exchange rate of approximately 650 on the investors and exporters window. As of today, the liquid exchange rate is close to 825 naira per tree. Consequently, an increase in the pump prices of petrol should be expected. The turns and twists are not yet over, as reports reaching us also yesterday may have signaled some kind of retractment of statements by the presidency, as Tinubu backtracks and reviews the proposed 8,000 naira cash palliative. Now, President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday, 12 million households for 6 months as part of efforts to assuage the hardship occasioned by fuel subsidy required to ease the pains of vulnerable Nigerians. The president has directed that the 8,000 naira condition cash transfer program envisaged to bring succor to most vulnerable households be reviewed immediately. Now, that was a statement signed by Tinubu's special advisor on special duties, communication and strategy, Mr. Dele Alake, which was read late Tuesday night. Alake said the new directive was in deference to the views expressed by Nigerians against it. The Senate had approved the request of President Tinubu to borrow $800 million loan from the World Bank as at the week before. It also amended the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act to accommodate the provisions of $500 billion for palliatives to mitigate the effects of petrol subsidy removal on poor Nigerians. Now, according to Tinubu, the $800 million loan will be used to cater for the welfare for vulnerable and poor households in the country under the National Safety Net Program. While the sum of 8,000 will be transferred monthly to the bank accounts of 12 million poor and low-income households for 6 months, however, the organized labor and some economists faulted the plan. In his responses, the president explained that the cash program was not the only item in its relief package for Nigerians. Therefore, he directed that the whole gamut of palliative packages of government be unveiled to Nigerians, and for the immediate release of fertilizers and grains to approximately 50 million farmers and households respectively in all the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. Now, he said the administration believes in the maxim that when there is prohibition, there must be provision. Since subsidy, the hydra-headed monster, threatened to kill the economy, Government has in place a broad spectrum of relief to bring help to Nigerians. Now, the president further assured Nigeria that the 500 billion approved by the National Assembly to cushion the pain occasioned by the end of the subsidy regime will be judiciously utilized. The beneficiaries of the relief shall be Nigerians irrespective of their culture, religious or political affiliation, he affirmed. While reiterating the president's drive to always prioritize the well-being of Nigerians, Alake cited the signing of 4 executive orders cancelling some classes of taxes and the suspension of the implementation dates of others. He described the move as Tinubu's willingness to continue to be a listening leader whose ears will not be dull to the views expressed by the citizens. Now, the president believes government exists to cater for the interest of the people and has demonstrated this so clearly, Alake has said. All right, these are the issues we will be looking at this morning, and let me quickly introduce our guests for the show. Now, the first guest that I have here today is Mr. Imo Akpan, Barrister Imo Akpan. Barrister Imo Akpan is a legal practitioner and a public affairs commentator, member of the APC. Barrister, good morning to you. How are you doing today, sir?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you. Nice to have you here.
Nice to have you on the show. All right, still joining us. Yeah, thank you. Still joining us virtually is the former presidential candidate and founder of EPay, joining us from Lagos. Inu, good morning to you. How are you doing?
Good morning. Thank you for having me. What a lovely day and what a long reading from you. Thank you.
All right. Let me compliment you. I like your red cap. I'm sure you just got a chieftaincy title.
Thank you.
All right. You've seen all the developments. Let's quickly start from the breaking news. Although we are still following the reports, and only very few mainstream media have been able to carry it, and that is the resignation of George Ugo, an active participant in the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal just going. And that resignation has been cited to be some pressures from some kind of quarters affiliated to the presidency. What do you make of this sudden development?
Well, it's still a rumor, so we've not yet confirmed. We're yet to hear from him directly.
Yeah.
We are not surprised. We know there is this pressure from the executive towards the judiciary in Nigeria currently. There is so much pressure. I have people who work within the judiciary system. They have been complaining about pressure, and this pressure is not just pressure, but it comes with some bribery and corruption in form of palliative. So the general word for APC now for bribery and corruption is now palliative. So they give you palliative to silence your voice. They give you palliative to tell you to change your focus. You know that the president has actually said they're going to give about 30 billion to the judiciary, for palliative.
Yes,
And I keep
35
asking
billion.
them, and I keep asking them, where is ASU? Why is that money not channeled to ASU? Where is the Nigerian doctors? ASU and Nigerian doctors have been crying for money. All of a sudden, they have 35 billion to put into the judiciary system, right? Leaving out ASU and doctors. You know, these are the new way of bribing now is palliative. So if he had pulled out, he's going to be our second hero in the country. You know, because the way it is right now in Nigeria is you either accept the bribe in terms of palliative, or you reject it and suffer. That's just the two ways, and that's why you find out that even our National Assembly that would have been speaking against the executives, they have promised to give them over 500 billion bribe, which is their palliative. So they have looked at the sector. This APC government have looked at the areas where they can be kicked out, right? So they came with the slogan of palliative, which is a form of bribery, to the House of Assembly, the National House of Assembly, and the judiciary, because these two sectors had the power to remove the president from seats. So that's what I'm asking. What about Nigerian teachers? Why are they not being given that palliative? What about the doctors? Why are they not being given palliative? What about Nigerian youths? What about the youth corpers? Right? So these as we speak right now, the evidence is clear that people working within the judiciary system, within the executive, within the legislative system, are going to be massively bribed with the incentive of palliative. And that is why you see what is happening in the country today is that Nigerians don't trust this APC-led government, that we don't have trust in them, we don't believe in them, we don't have faith in them. We feel that APC had kept Nigerians in hunger, in pain, in hardship for the past 8 years, and now they have come to continue the damage that they have done. Having said that, because I know that every Nigerian out there right now feel the pain, feel the agony, feel the hell that APC government has brought to us. I think what we should start doing now is start looking for a way forward.
Okay.
What do we need to do
to
cushion this
challenges? But I can assure you that in as much as you've made a lot of logic and sense, a lot of other people will argue on some points you've made. But let me quickly move to Barrister Imo Akpan. And thanks for your patience, Barrister. Fuel increases significantly over 300%, and twice in less than 2 months of the administration of Tinubu, under the claims of the removal of subsidy, setting off what we will describe as a negative chain of reactions. Now, Barrister, help us with an overview. Help us make sense of this situation.
Well, thank you. I didn't quite hear.
Okay, you didn't quite hear the question.
Of the question you asked.
All right.
No, but I'm fine. I didn't quite hear that, but I can get what you're referring to. Well, listening to you in his opening remarks, said about his understanding of what the palliatives being extended by the federal government
That's correct.
is. And I'm surprised that, yes, I'm surprised that he says that palliatives in the Nigerian context seems to be a euphemism, seems to be another word, or seems to be a byword for bribe, you know.
He says that is what it implies. That is what it has now implied. He's not telling you that's his own conviction, but he's just saying the trend and the way it has been used, that is what it implies.
It's about, you know, it's about,
yes, Barrister, I'm listening.
It's about bribing the legislature. And I am surprised that your medium would allow such unsubstantiated allegations to go uncensored. You know.
Okay, I just responded, Barrister. Okay, can you hear me, Barrister?
Palliatives are palliatives for whatever they are worth. And
Barrister, can I have,
for any reason we feel that they are meant to serve purposes other than what they have been declared to be, then those are very personal and private opinions and ought not to form an opinion on mainstream media. So when you say in the open that 35 billion allocated to the judiciary is meant to sway decisions of courts, or those which are allocated to the National Assembly are meant outrightly as a bribe, those are criminal allegations.
You are the one now adding outrightly, my barrister. I know you're a very sound lawyer, sir. Let me have your attention, please. Let me have your attention, barrister. First of all, our media platform. Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me? First of all, our media platform understands the rules of engagement, and we do not ascribe to people using false narratives or unsubstantiated facts. Now, what Victor has just done is to say that based on the body language of the current administration and how they've been going about their policies, people now perceive it to be so. And if we want to be factual, like we always say, if issues are discussed for and against. So maybe he holds that opinion that this is what people perceive. It would be very nice if you just disagree and not draw in the platform by saying that we are allowing unsubstantiated facts, because we always work with facts. But having cleared that, sir, please, you can go on. I just responded to the first statement you made, and I believe everybody is entitled to their opinion, you know, and whatever opinion you share is your opinion, not the station's opinion. All right, barrister, please go on.
Yeah, well, I think I'm trying to make
okay, do you have audio issues? Can you hear me clearly, barrister, sir?
I'm not sure if I can hear you, but
just go on.
Hello, are you there?
I can hear you clearly.
I can't hear the studio. I can hear you. I can't hear the studio.
Okay, you can't hear the studio, barrister Imo.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, you can hear me now. Yeah, I just said go on. I just gave a rebuttal to the first statement you made about allowing people to make unsubstantiated facts. Now, I said that he is saying, based on the trends of decisions that the administration has made, it is perceived widely. It's not even his original opinion. He's just sharing that it is perceived widely to be that this may be some kind of bribes. You know, we can argue back and forth. He didn't say it's a fact, and he didn't say that he has been able to substantiate it, and is entitled to his opinion. And this organization understands the welcome back. So continue on your thoughts.
Well, let me presume I'm back online, and so go straight away to say that well, this is not the first time we've had palliatives. All right, so right away, this is not the first time we have palliatives. The federal government of Nigeria, in the President Tinubu administration, is more or less in reaction to the plight of Nigerians, reeling out interventionist programs, you know, and initiatives to cushion the effect of the removal of subsidy. And this whole intervention has a background even in the 2022 budget, where these funds were budgeted for. Originally, it was 819 billion, and by this supplementary amendment, we're taking out 500 billion to serve as palliatives, and the details are being worked out by a joint committee set up by the executive and also the National Assembly. We've also heard
that's correct
what the National Assembly intends to do. Correct. Intends to do with parts of these funds. And then what is central, which is what the president has now ordered for review, is the fact that 8,000 is meant to be distributed on a 6-month window to each household. The details of that review, I'm sure, are also going to be worked out, so that we may be looking at maybe fewer households with larger unit payments, or even an increment from the 8,000 to, let's say, 10,000 or 20,000. That is basically my private speculation. So we don't know what complexion that is going to take.
But whatever complexion, let me quickly add that whatever complexion is going to take, the peg is already on 500 billion. So whether 8,000 for 12 million households at 6 months, or it increases, it is still limited to the 500 billion. So move on.
That is correct. For a 6-month window, that is correct. That is agreed. Now, the philosophy behind it is that as at end of June, the president had announced on the 29th of May that subsidy is off and is out.
Yeah.
And we would all agree that despite the pangs accentuated by the removal of subsidy, it is important and essential that subsidy be removed. Some of us have argued that probably the method of implementation
very correct
of this philosophy would have been maybe staggered, that so that impact is not in one fell swoop as drastic as it is being felt now. But of course, in the wisdom of federal government, it had to go anyway. And then we're now trying to think inwards to see, well, how do we assuage the feelings? How do we cushion the effects? And I'm aware that the federal government is still in very close and deep talks with labor unions and also stakeholders to see how best to deal with the issues and the demands of labor. Now, this is an interim stopgap situation,
yeah.
And then it may not solve the problem, but you see, it also shows that while the pangs are being felt, federal government also has a listening ear. And I believe that this present administration, in all sincerity, would not willfully and deliberately want to throw Nigerians into a difficult situation. But it must also be agreed that necessary sacrifices must be made. If it is agreed that subsidy has to be removed, then there are consequences for the removal of subsidy. We know what the payment of subsidy in the last couple of years has amounted to in this country. And it just cannot continue that way. So it has to be a choice between the continued payment of subsidy and then the benefits accruing to a few persons, or its removal, so that we have some discomfort, at least in the short term. And then that we can have more concrete government policy that takes away the difficulty and the hardships that we are facing currently.
Still
yes.
On your line of thought, a lot of people would say that ever since the removal of subsidy, it is assumed, whether arithmetically or mathematically, that certain hundreds of billions have been saved. I think it's about 2 months now. Now, there are criticisms and complaints and questions in different quarters that if certain monies have been saved, why is government already cap in arms begging for approval for another, is it $800 million, we'll look at it, or 500 billion for the palliative? How would you justify that, sir? Still within the line of what we're having a conversation about.
After subsidy payment was stopped, we must have saved some money, within that window.
Yes, estimated 400 billion.
Deployed for some social intervention. Is that what I understand to mean?
The issue is, if we've saved 400 billion twice, because this is the second month, roughly 800 billion, why do we still need to borrow 500 billion for palliative? I just want you to justify that because you seem to be very confident with this current administration, sir. Move on, Barrister.
It's not about confidence. It's about understanding that per time certain decisions have to be made.
That is correct.
Government is not a charity organization.
That is correct.
The Constitution of Nigeria said that the federal government of Nigeria shall be run on the basis of charity, and is the preserve of that government to ensure that it deploys policies and programs in furtherance of that constitutional mandate. Now, yes, we have saved money, I presume so, but you see, you can't spend money on the basis of your savings. So you for instance, you get 400 or 500 billion in June or July, and then by August you spend 500 billion. While we are even talking about $800 million, and going back to the fact that these funds have already been appropriated, what we are doing now is an amended to already appropriated. That, you see, it is not every fund you have at your disposal that you can spend, because sometimes there are longer term implications. If you have funds you can access, let's say $800 million, and the interest rate is marginally low and slim, then you go for it while you save funds at your disposal. So wherever it is government is going to get funds that is cheap enough to solve a problem on the interim, yes, we can go for it. And I think that is the best decision. See, we have to gravitate away from always thinking that there are sinister motives for every action government takes. We have had very horrendous experiences in our recent democratic experience. And it is not just about the APC. I'm not going to go the route of, putting blames on people and all of that. We have had a history. And in this very ugly experience and history, few persons in few sectors of our economy have been beneficiaries. And we are saying, no, we cannot continue that way. Let us look the other way. My colleague said, well, we are talking about the way forward. This is about the way forward. We must be constructive in the things we're saying.
So you agree with me?
Saying, for
so you agree with me when I say you seem to have a lot of confidence? You agree with me when I say you seem to have a lot of confidence in this administration?
Cautioning the effect.
I say you'll agree with me when I said you seem to have a lot of confidence in this administration. Your choice of words are very deliberate, and you've even said it that people should trust the system.
I have a lot of confidence in the fact that we have a government that is not just proactive, but you also have a government that is prepared for the task, the very systematic and methodological implementation of the program so far. And I think that it will not be fair that 2 months down the road, where there are loopholes in the implementation strategy, yes, I will be the first to raise the red flag. But I'm saying that for now, there is nothing that suggests that the motives of government are impure or sinister. And that's the opportunity we want to offer ourselves as patriotic Nigerians, not just as politicians who are partisan or who are inclined to our own partisan dispositions.
Okay.
If I may.
Okay, Barrister, I think
if my point of view is not objective enough, I'm sure.
No, you are.
On your side, or even your point.
No, you are. You made your point clearly.
Are on the table, and we must all agree that we have a difficult situation. Subsidy must go. Taking out subsidy means that there must be consequential hardship. How do you deal with consequential hardship? Is it possible to totally eliminate the hardship we're going through? It is not possible. You have a nation where not even
Barrister,
that has to be bought at competitive market rates. How is that done? It is being controlled by market forces, and that can only be taken care of where you have a carefully laid out plan in implementing a situation where the government can support local production of PMS or refining of crude, so that we have domestic supply, we have enough to suffuse the market and run down the cost. I just hear that the first batch, after the end of payment of subsidy, just came in a few days ago, and the reaction of the market is that, well.
Barrister, thank you so much. I think you've made your points very clearly. I just wanted to establish the fact that you seem, by your choice of words, you seem to be very, very, very confident of this administration. But I'd like Mr. Victor to react. I want you to react to, these developments based on what Barrister has laid down.
Choices as to where to go to.
That's how APC go. That's how they talk.
No, it's okay. Let's stay on the issues. Whether it's APC or PDP doesn't matter. He's made some very
issue, sir.
Victor.
No, sir.
Victor, he has made some very valid points, just like you did make some very valid points. My own point is people don't always agree. We have these conversations and argue back and forth. And the idea is that any government in power must be on the dividends of democracy. So please, I want you to react to the issues he has raised.
So what I'm saying is that for now, the best thing that would have been done by the APC-led government is to admit their failure, then ask for help. Ask for help. My own strategy to solve Nigeria's problem is to provide help for Nigerians. To provide help for Nigerians. But
so our palliatives not helps?
Our leaders, palliative is being directed to a particular sector that have the power to remove the president. It is obvious why you are taking your palliative to the judiciary and the legislative arm, because these are the
to correct you, they are still proposed. I don't, Mr. Victor, they are still proposed. So they are still proposals. I'm sure that was why Barrister Imo was executed.
On track, sir. We are 100% on track. Nobody is forming this, and this is not an allegation.
But they are still propositions.
Who the Constitution have given the responsibility to lead this nation, right?
Okay.
To lead this nation. So every action they take and every word they say, they must be held accountable. But it pains me, why is it that APC don't want to be held accountable? They want to intimidate people. They want to make the wrong decision and expect Nigerians to clap for them.
Okay, if that is a statement of fact, it's not limited to only the APC. All the other active political parties behave the same way.
Sir,
of course, we'll be following the trends of the obedience. We'll be following the trends of the people who are supporting the PDP. So it is not peculiar to APC alone.
Sir, we are looking at these two things now. If you take these two situations, it's as a result of APC-led administration, their decision on their inaction. That is what I've led to it. I said this when I opened this speech was, we need to call out those who are the cause of the problem. While we call them out, we now need to look for solution to solve these problems. I would have expected an APC representative to come out and tell us that, oh, we are sorry for what we are seeing currently. These are measures we are about to take to move the country forward. That's what I said. That being aside, what are we advised the APC government? Because I'm not the president.
But as a rebuttal to that,
if I was the president,
Mr. Victor, as a rebuttal to that, I remember that the secretary to the government of Federation 2 days ago still held a meeting and apologized that there will be initial inconveniences, but that the administration means well. That is a very high-ranking member of government and also a member of APC who has already offered some kind of, apologies or explanation, so to speak. And I think Dele Alake has also done that. Dele Alake speaks directly for the presidency. So saying that you expect that an APC member should have come out to say that, I do not think that is completely correct. Because certain persons have made some statements unambiguously.
Yes. Allow me to move forward.
Yes, I'm allowing you, sir.
Because APC issue is there. APC issue is like hellfire. So Nigeria been in 8 years under APC-led government, suffering and going through agony. You came and you are telling us that we'll go through more. That means you should just crab out the entire country now. The entire country should collapse because APC wants to be in power. Like, seriously. Was it not the same excuse that APC gave solutions for APC if they will listen? Because one of the problems.
Okay, go straight into it so that we can allow Barrister to talk. Go straight into the solution.
So the first thing, like I said, they have to do is to own up whether their decision produce a positive result or a negative result. Take responsibility for your actions. The APC should please and stop fighting people who call you out to say you didn't make this decision well. That is number one. Then number two, you are giving palliative to people who are employed. Go and read the meaning of palliative. Palliative is relief from sorrow and pain. You are giving palliative to the House of Assembly members that are normally at the end of the month, they have millions to go with. Why don't you focus on your palliative to people, the non-employed citizens? Focus your prayer. People who have skill, but they don't have money to set up their own business. That's what we should be hearing. And most of these decisions APC is making now, we need the president to speak for himself. APC have always had this issue of using spokesperson to speak. As big as America today, if there's issues like this, believe me, the president will be having a press conference every day. So if anybody comes here now want to maybe make APC to look, APC can never be a saint to us. We have classified APC as a
Mr. Victor, choice of language. Let's be civil. Let's be civil, please.
Bring down the cost of fuel price. See, this is not about subsidy. Subsidy was removed by this same APC. When Goodluck was in power, Goodluck left fuel for about 87 naira. Partial removal. You remember that Nigeria was selling for 60 something naira. Goodluck now increased it to 120. It was this APC that fought against this and said no, they should not remove the subsidy. Goodluck now did partial removal to 87 naira. When Akachukwu was the minister as at that time, they removed the subsidy fully. That's how fuel got up to about 160. It's like most people feel that Nigerians.
Okay, Victor.
Victor. So what had just happened, sir? Just allow me to land.
Okay, please land, because I want Barrister to react to the things you've raised. Yes.
Yes. What you just heard about the fuel now is not actually subsidy removal. Is the president allowing the marketers to sell at any price? So what the president is now saying now, we do not regulate petroleum products anymore. You bring at any price, you sell at any price. Even if you want to sell for 1,500, you can sell.
No, he said it will be subjected to the market forces. They were specific.
Sir, what is the market forces?
No, you just said even if he wants to sell at 1,000 naira.
That, please now, wait now. What is the market forces?
Competitive market forces.
You need forex. Wait now.
All right. Thank you, Victor. Victor, I will get back to you, Victor.
Forex, right?
I like your passion. Barrister, I want you to react to the things he has raised. Barrister Imo, please react.
I have been reacting because my colleague said he was going to give solutions for the way forward.
Mr. Victor, hang on. Mr. Victor, hang on.
Not one.
Mr. Victor, hang on. Yes.
The only thing he has said, which has caught my attention, is that the APC is a demon. And
no. I have
agreed that
I have disclaimed that.
And that's the only thing I heard.
I have disclaimed. You didn't need to repeat that. I have disclaimed
because
that.
I have thought.
I have disclaimed that, Barrister.
I had thought when he said he was going to profile solutions, that he was going to discount on all the things APC is doing to say, well, this would have been a better route to go, other than saying APC, come and own up and apologize.
That's the first step.
President Tinubu has said, I'm not holding brief for the APC.
Okay.
I am a member of the APC. Before I used to consider myself an unrepentant member of the party.
No
but
doubt.
I'm an objective member of the party because I'm a Nigerian. I'm a Nigerian. I can't afford to drive my car in the last few days, because I mean, my fuel consumption is higher than one would have thought. But I also understand the interplay of these economic situations. But if you look at what the National Assembly is doing, someone tells you, oh, several billions have been allocated to the National Assembly as palliatives. I have seen the breakdown of what the National Assembly wants to do. I have been to the National Assembly in the last 2 weeks, and I know that if you walk to the corridors of the National Assembly today, this morning, you will discover that most of the offices are without furniture. Practically speaking.
But how did
no
that
chairs.
But to be very sincere, how did that come to be? Because we know that successive administrations have voted billions of naira to renovating, arranging, redesigning the National Assembly. So if you claim there are no chairs,
that this is what happened 2 years ago. I am telling you the situation as at this morning.
Okay, carry on.
I'm telling you the situation that as at this morning. As at this morning, that if you do your investigation, as at this morning, there are many offices in the National Assembly that are without furniture.
There is ongoing renovations. They are not even using the major chamber, but go on.
Renovations. Of course, we are even aware.
Yes.
We are even aware that the Senate and the House of Reps have been unable to make use of their
major
chambers, both chambers.
Yes.
For close to a year now. Correct. So these funds have been allocated. Oh, purchase of vehicles for committee work, provision of furniture. And this same National Assembly we are vilifying today are the same people who Nigerians require would have to sit down and do the work of proffering solutions to the problems we are being confronted with as a nation.
Okay.
Well, why don't we channel the funds to market women, to artisans? The same APC administration was the one that introduced conditional money transfer. And I'm sure Victor was also very critical of that program of government, saying that it was bribery because of impending elections when conditional money transfer was introduced.
It wasn't only Victor, a lot of people felt that way.
Market women as soft loans to enhance.
A lot of people felt that way, especially as to the timing. Especially as to the timing of the conditional transfer.
It is not about the feeling. You see, it is not about the feeling. Those who should know what. No, it's not about the feeling.
No, timing.
Timing. If we want to be critical.
The timing of the distribution of the money.
If we must be critical.
Yes, go on.
If we must continue to be critical, then I can tell you that there is no program of government in a political system which is not based on strategic thinking for elections. Whether it is done in the first year of that administration, or in the second, or in the third year, or in the election year.
How about a conscious and deliberate effort at developing the nation and contributing towards nation building? Why must they always think about elections?
But we're also very critical about an administration which is just 2 months down the road, that is just reeling out a blueprint. Very critical. Just in 2 months.
You wouldn't blame the criticisms
for the benefit of Nigerians. If every step is being criticized,
you won't blame the citizens, because according to all the facts before you, the last administration has plunged Nigeria into what is almost a precipice, almost a recession. All the facts from MBS, all the foreign reports show and indicate that. So there is high expectations from this current administration, and you know, a journey of 1,000 miles starts
in the window. It is not the last administration. Say from 1999.
Okay, from 1999.
From 1999.
So if we say this administration is the Messiah,
we have progressively tottered on the brink. Progressively tottered on the brink. Since 1999.
I agree.
So it's not an APC thing.
I agree with you.
It is not an APC thing.
So there's been 16 years of PDP. I agree with you. Go on.
Correct. So let us admit. You see, we can't just be critical for partisan reasons. Let us agree there is a government that is 2 months old. There are going to be a lot of things which we didn't envisage, which we didn't anticipate. Victor has said, look, the only way the APC can be forgiven is to drive down the cost of fuel. That is not magic. It is not magic. We know what the cost of crude oil is going for around the globe. We know what our local conditions are in this country, that we don't have one functional refinery. It didn't start with an APC administration. It didn't start with an APC administration.
It didn't start progressively. It didn't start may not be an exactly fair excuse because the APC administration already had 8 years.
I grew into adulthood hearing about turnaround maintenance of refineries prior to even the merger or formation of APC in Nigeria in 2014. It's always been there. So we have a leadership. I'm not talking about APC now. I'm talking about Nigeria. We have had a leadership that has not been fair to this nation. But I'm also saying that the solutions to the problem of Nigeria is also going to come by a change in the attitude of the leadership. And if you don't afford that leadership, my brother, Nigeria is such a nation that even when we find our messiahs, we vilify them. It will find it very difficult to identify and acknowledge and recognize them because, I mean, justifiably, of the experiences we have had, not just in the near past, but in our political history. And so therefore, let us not, because of those ugly experiences, even bypass the plausible and sincere effort of leadership in this nation. There are a lot of things that are happening which signpost positive signs that things are going to get better. Am I very excited the way things are as of today on this date? No, I am not. But I am optimistic.
I'm very confident too.
I am optimistic and very confident.
Oh, now you agree. All right.
Optimistic and very confident as a person.
Yes,
that things would improve.
Barrister Markman, Victor has said a lot of things you disagree with. Let me quickly chip in this question so that the conversation will continue. Now, NLC sees 500 billion palliative as milking the poor to feed and enhance the rich. That is coming from one of the largest civil society body in Nigeria. They say in all the accusations and criticism of billions to the legislative as well as the judiciary. Now, do you see point in what NLC is trying to say or have said that 500 billion palliative and already a proposal to allocate 70 or thereabout to National Assembly and 35 or thereabout to the judiciary is taken from the poor to feed the rich? Barrister, I want you to start first because I know Victor would agree, but you start first.
Well, let me assume the answer I'm going to, let me assume that the answer I'm going to give you tallies with the question you asked because I got lost towards the tail end. But you said something about NLC saying it's about robbing the poor.
Yes.
Yes, NLC said it's about robbing the poor to maybe feather the nest of the wealthy or the rich.
Of the wealthy, yes, very correct.
You see from experience, from my personal experience, you know, the best administrators are usually not activists. When you find a labor union that has a large arsenal of grammar to describe in terms that are convenient to it, you know, I mean, whatever it is the NLC or labor unions or activists don't agree with, there is always a very flowery expression about it. Do I think that the palliatives have now been hijacked by the rich or the wealthy in society in the name, supposedly, of the poor? No, I do not think so. Do I think, for instance, that there could be a recalibration of the balance? Yes, I would tell you that I would desire that more emphasis be placed on the vulnerable section of society. More emphasis be placed on the vulnerable section of the society.
Oh, so you disagree?
Weak, the unemployed, the weak, the unemployed. No, I would say more emphasis be placed. You know, so rather than, because you see, it's a matter of strategy. It's also a matter of timing. I would tell you, well, rather than purchase vehicles for members of the National Assembly for oversight functions, can we increase from 8,000 naira to maybe 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000, so that it makes much more meaning. And several years ago, my lecturer told me that what they are being paid as lecturers is what they describe as criminal wage. And I remember ASU also that he is saying our take-home pay cannot take us home.
That's correct.
On social media, I've also seen on recent that, oh, the man who is looking for urgent 2K can no longer, So
do many
if we
things,
recalibrate those figures and say, well, let us increase the unit amount you're sending to homes, so that whoever gets 20,000 naira can maybe be sustained for 2-3 days. If it was going to be 1 day, that would mean that you'd have to chink off some from the other sectors, maybe from the legislature, maybe from
the judiciary,
some other sector. Well, if you feel like it, I know Mr. Victor will be comfortable with that because he feels that those ones are for ulterior motives. So if you take into that, why? Because I have a greater concern for the vulnerable in society, for those who have nobody to speak for them. In actual terms, I'm not talking about people speaking under the toga of speaking for the vulnerable in society, but they are actually positioning themselves for opportunities and advantages. That is what we have found in most cases in our country, that you have people who claim to be activists, who claim to be this and that, and all they do is to offer themselves advantages by other means. So if we could recalibrate that, so that benefit this policy, it will make a lot more sense. I think so. But would I also vilify sectors that have been allocated funds to get them functioning and keep the engine of government running? No, I would not vilify them. I would not also say that, oh, they are being taken care of, or they are being doing all of this because they need to take critical decisions which affect the polity or outcome of certain actions of sectors that could take decisions which places the government or the have as a disadvantage. Several sectors of our society as dysfunctional. The judiciary still remains the last hope of the common man, and I would not cast aspersion, not even in veiled terms, against the judiciary, or even impute that there are people who are doing things to compromise the judiciary. I have had experiences in the past where I have cause to begin to
Okay, I'm guessing, continuing on the program, Mr. Victor, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so I want you to react to that last statement about the NLC saying the 500 billion and the allocation of 70 or is it 70 or thereabouts to the National Assembly and 35 to the judiciary is milking the poor, to give benefits to the rich.
Yes. I will not just say that they are correct. They are absolutely correct. Yeah. What they said is this. Let me give you the figure. If you add the upper and the lower chamber together, we have 469 or 68 or thereabouts. So it's like saying 469 persons to share 70 billion. Why 12 million people to share 500
12 million households, not people. 12 million households. And it's
12 million
households. A household is an average of 5-6 persons.
I don't want to even go into that. So
that's the fact. That's the fact.
It, that means, if you even divide it, that means that 12 million times 5. That's about 60 million people share 500 billion. Then just 467 or 69 persons to share 70 billion. The judiciary, all the judiciary put together, I don't think they are up to 2,000 of them. They are to share 35 billion. I don't know why somebody with his conscience of mind can come on air that want to defend APC. To me, I am not lying against them. I'm only adding up their figures, their actions. I have not said anything
No, but
that is
Victor,
implicating to
Barrister
APC.
Imo Akpan has
Sir.
said that it is not, in as much as criticism, APC administration led by members of the APC are evil or bad. And I think that's a fact. He is saying that let's not use, hide under the guise of criticism to always condemn every action, inaction, or executive decisions taken. Sometimes constructive criticism is important, and I believe in him, because even while defending the APC, he just criticized the APC too. You heard him. So I don't think what he has said is out of place.
And
yes,
no, it's not about what he has said. It's about what we are facing. And if you want to criticize APC, it's not wrong. That's the problem APC as a party have. They don't like people to criticize their mistake. At least PDP was a little bit fair enough. When you criticize them, they
PDP also did not like criticism. PDP also did not like criticism.
No. That's not true. It was this same APC people.
I'm a journalist. We've been following all the reports. They did not like criticism too.
Let's look at antecedents. Let's not look at the general scope. This fuel subsidy, PDP increased it from 87 naira to about CC. They opposed it, true of us. And what did the PDP do? PDP brought it down. PDP brought it down. And you say they don't listen. But we have an APC government where you increase it to 500 and something. The people are complaining. In the same complaining, you increase it to 700.
Okay, as we wrap up, Victor, a lot of analysts, even including people who are from outside of our shores, have said that the courage that President Bola Tinubu has to have removed the subsidy is a courage that past administrations should have found. This was not a statement credited to only followers of the APC. Even people who are non-partisan have said that, because even during the campaign, the three candidates, the three forerunners, Peter Obi, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and now President Bola Tinubu, all had in their manifestos that subsidy would go. But the only difference was how they would eventually implement such. So in wrapping up, in less than a...
I can hear you.
Subsidy have left. Subsidy, fuel subsidy have left.
Hello?
They have taken it away since.
Okay, Mr. Victor. Barrister Imo, can you hear me?
We just found out that.
Oh, no.
Mr. Victor.
Barrister
Imo, can you hear me? Please hold on. Barrister Imo, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, we are wrapping up now. We have barely 45 seconds. I just want you to set an agenda in 45 seconds because we have very short time to go.
Nigerians must demonstrate optimism even in the face of our recent ugly political history, in the fact that it is possible to turn things around. The federal government of Nigeria has not increased the pump price of petrol. Pump price of petrol has been increased by virtue of market forces. Subsidy has been removed, and the federal government of Nigeria, under President Bola Tinubu, the GCFR, is doing everything possible to ensure that the free market economy is put in place and that the cost of fuel is driven down consequentially. And in the interim, that measures are being put in place to address the hardship occasioned on labor, the vulnerable in society.
Very much. Mr. Victor, quickly, in few seconds, please, just drop your last statement, please, because we are really, really out of time and we must continue on the next program. Yes.
Government should bring down the cost or the price of fuel.
Thank you very much.
Also focus their palliative to the poor.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be speaking to Barrister Imo Akman and Mr. Victor Laju. Thank you so much for joining on today's edition. Remember, these conversations continue even on our social media handles. Follow me at Austin Honor on Twitter. At Austin Honor is one word. The conversation continues. Or you can follow us on Spectrum T Online on Twitter, Spectrum Television on YouTube, Spectrum Television on Facebook, and all other social media platforms. We've got to run now because the program continues. Stay tuned and enjoy the next